Hello, y'all. It's me, Naima B, or Tuesday. I'm not really sure where I'm at with it right now. And I'm starting a new channel called Drink and Overthink, and it's gonna be homage to, well, I like to drink and I like to try new wines and stuff. But also, I have a big love of cinema. This channel will predominantly for this, I guess, season will be us. We're gonna do remakes starting out. And this is my mother, Robin. Hello.
So I've been a lover of old movies since I was a little child. It could be black, white, color. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys enjoy it. This is entertainment purposes only.
We're not, movie critics or sommeliers. We should just regular people. This is what's available out here. We have something called the TCM Wine Club, the poster that came with it. We're not affiliated. We're not sponsored, nothing like that. But I just wanted to try it. Like, why not? So they send you 15 wines. You get some repeats and then they sent like 3 extra ones. I don't know if they do that all the time, or we're just going to do a quick little taste test and then we're going to get into the movie that we're going to be doing, which is Imitation of Life. It's 2 different ones. It's 1934 and 1959. The one that we're drinking with that, it really doesn't have anything to do with the movie, is GFF, Chardonnay. And that's what the bottle looks like. It says it's from Napa, California. It has aromas of peach, mango, and white flower. So we're going to see about that.
Oh, is that how you do it?
Ain't that what you do?
No.
That's how I always open up. I've been doing it wrong. I thought you twisted it.
I take the plastic off first, and then I just put it down on. I put it down and put the it came right up. So
I never take the plastic off. I just do it like that. So basically, y'all, I just did it wrong. Don't judge me. I don't know. And try to hold it like they hold it from the bottom.
Thank you.
So I did watch a few videos on how to actually test and taste wine. We ain't got time for that. And I'm pretty sure I might mess it up. It shouldn't smell like old cardboard. It shouldn't smell like vinegar or nail polish remover.
Yes.
Which I can smell it already. It doesn't.
No, it's a nice, clean, crisp
it smells so good.
Cheers.
Cheers to hopefully a good season of Drink and Overthink. Or we're just wasting our time. But I know they say hold it in your mouth and swish it around and then take in like 2 gulps of air or whatever.
Yes.
I already swallowed it, but...
Well, I like it. I mean, the quick sip, it's a good, pleasant sip.
Is it light?
If you're a Chardonnay lover, I think you would enjoy it. I think you would appreciate it.
It's really good, though. Like, I don't want to just say it's good. Mango, yeah, it gives mango, and I'm a big mango, like a huge mango person. I would give it about I give it a 9.
If you're a Chardonnay lover, I would definitely give it a 9. Let's get into the movie review.
So it will be spoiler alert. Obviously, if you've never seen the movie, which I feel like if you're watching this, you probably have. But if you haven't, you need to go watch it.
In the 1934 original, Whittle B. Pullman, played by Claudette Colbert, is continuing her husband's business, selling maple syrup door to door and making little money. One day, a black housekeeper, Delilah Johnson, played by Louise Beavers, misreads an advertisement and ends up at B's door. Trying to reach her rubber duck upstairs, B's 2-year-old daughter falls into the bathtub and B runs upstairs to catch her. And when she comes back, Delilah has fixed breakfast. Delilah explains that no one wants a housekeeper with a child and introduces her daughter, Piola, who is very fair in complexion. B cannot afford to pay Delilah, so she offers room and board in exchange for her services instead. The 4 become like family. B uses her business skills to get a storefront on credit on the boardwalk, and they open a pancake restaurant in the front where they sell Delilah's pancake family recipe while staying in the living quarters out back. In the 59 remake, also a widow, Laura Meredith, played by Alana Turner, dreams of becoming a famous Broadway actress. Losing track of her daughter Susie at Coney Island, she asks a stranger for help, Steve Archer, played by John Gavin. Meanwhile, Susie has been taken up and looked after by Annie Johnson, played by Juanita Moore, who is also a single mother. Her daughter, Sarah Jane, whom Laura assumed is white due to her skin and features. In return for Annie's kindness, Laura temporarily takes in the mom and daughter. as Annie is looking for work. Laura, meanwhile, becomes a star of stage comedies and begins a relationship with a man named David Edwards as her chief playwright and lover. In the 1934 version, the girls are good friends, but one day, while meaning no harm, Jessie calls Piola black. Piola runs into the apartment declaring that she's not black, will not be black, and that it's her mom that makes her black. Holding her daughter crying, we learn that Piola has an extreme complex about being African American but not looking so. Yet she has to learn to live with it. It's revealed that Piola's father, a light-skinned African American, had the same struggle and it broke him. Delilah receives another blow when she finds out that Piola has been passing for white at school. One day, Elmer Smith, a hungry passerby, offers B a 2-word idea in exchange for his meal. Box it, meaning the pancake flour. B hires him as her manager and they set up the successful Delilah's pancake flour business. When Delilah is confronted with signing for her share of the profit, she declines. Even though she would have more than enough money to go off and make a home of her own, she doesn't want to break up the family. So the two friends continue to live together and B puts Delilah's share of the money in the bank. In the 1959 version, although Laura had earlier begun a relationship with Steve, whom she met at Coney Island, their courtship falls apart because he doesn't support the demands of her career. Her concentration on her career also limits her time with her daughter Susie, who turns to Annie for emotional comfort. Annie and Sarah Jane have their own issues as Sarah is struggling with her identity, as we stated earlier. 11 years later, Laura is a highly regarded Broadway star, living in a luxurious home near New York City with Annie, who serves as nanny, housekeeper, confidant, and best friend. After rejecting David, her lover and playwright, laid a script and his marriage proposal, Laura takes a role in a dramatic play to great success. At the show's after party, she sees Steve again after a decade apart. The two slowly begin rekindling their friendship. Steve is reintroduced to Annie and the girls, Susie, now played by Sandra Dee, and Sarah Jane, played by Susan Conner, who are now teenagers. When Laura is signed to star in an Italian movie, she entrusts Steve to watch after Susie, whom develops a crush on her mother's boyfriend. 10 years later, both women are wealthy and share a mansion in New York City. Delilah becomes a mainstay of the African American community, supporting many lodges and charitable organizations in her church. She tries to give Piola, played by Freddie Washington, every advantage she can, like college, for example, but instead Piola runs away. Meanwhile, Elmer, the manager, arranges for B to meet Stephen Archer, played by Warren Williams. They hit it off immediately and plan to marry. Then 18-year-old Jessie, played by Rochelle Hudson, vacation, and during the 5 days it takes for B and Delilah to find Piola, she falls in love with Stephen, her mother's boyfriend. Piola has taken a job in a segregated restaurant and passing as white in Virginia. When B and Delilah find her, Piola tells her mother that she is going away again, never to return, so she can pass as a white woman, and if they ever meet on the street, her mother must never speak to her. Delilah returns home heartbroken, falls ill, and becomes bedridden, and forgives Piola before succumbing to her heartbreak. Delilah dies and has the grand funeral she always wanted. As her coffin is carried from the church, a sobbing Piola rushes to embrace it, begging her dead mother to forgive her. B and Jessie catch her and take her into the car with them. Piola later decides to return to college to honor her mom. Meanwhile, B asks Stephen to wait for her, promising to come after him after Jessie has gotten over him. In 1959 version, Sarah Jane begins dating a white teenager, but he abuses her after learning that she is black. She again passes for white to get a job performing at a seedy nightclub, but tells her mother that she's working at a library. When Annie learns the truth, she goes to the job to find her, which gets Sarah Jane fired. Sarah Jane's rejection of her mother takes a physical and mental toll on Annie. When Laura returns from her movie role in Italy, Sarah Jane has run away from home. Laura asks Steve to hire a private detective to find Sarah Jane. The detective finds her living and working in California as a white woman named Linda. Annie has become seriously ill and flies out to see her daughter one last time to say goodbye. When they meet, Annie apologizes for loving her daughter too much and wishes her the best. She pleads with Sarah Jane to promise that if she ever needs help and can't find Annie, she will contact Laura. Sarah Jane agrees and they share a final hug. After returning home, Annie becomes bedridden, so Laura and Susie look after her. Susie learns that Steve and her mother plan to get married and becomes very upset. Annie tells Laura about Susie's crush, and after a confrontation with her mother, Susie decides to leave New York and go to school in Denver to get away. Soon Annie dies and Laura is weeping by her side. She gives Annie the lavish funeral that she wanted in a large church complete with a gospel choir. Just before the procession sets off, Sarah Jane arrives, pushing through the crowd of mourners to throw herself on her mother's casket. She begs her mother's forgiveness, saying, "I killed my own mother." Laura takes Sarah Jane to her limousine with Susie and Steve as it slowly travels down a city street. A large African American crowd dressed in the finery of their lodges and associations silently watches. And that's the end of the 59 version.
So you have entrepreneur versus actress.
I actually like both storylines for different reasons. I like the fact that Beatrice, the Claudette Colbert character, she was pretty much self-made. Being an entrepreneur at that time, I for a woman, I suppose, wasn't the easiest thing. So she became very, very successful. The Lana Turner, Laura's character, she was just very talented and she just got her big break. But if it wasn't for Annie's character that took care of home and her daughter, would she have still achieved it? Yes, but it was much easier.
I feel a way. I think I like 59 better. They didn't make the black character, Annie slash Delilah, so stereotypically black. You know what I mean? She spoke well. She was always polished, put together. She wasn't all slumped over. And I get that.
It was the time.
It was the time. 1934 was a time. It wasn't a good time for everybody, but it was a time. And I appreciate in 1934, that could be a pro or con that they took Annie's idea and Annie, what's her other name? Delilah.
Mm-hmm.
They took the black lady's idea and they got not out the hood, but they made money off of it. But then I also kind of don't like it because it's called Delilah's Pancakes and she's not even getting the bulk of the money. She had a chance to get some money and be able to get a home for her and her daughter, and she chose to stay. I guess she chose to stay because I guess at that point they were like family, and it's better than being alone. Two single mothers, we might as well just stick together.
That's the way I look at it in both films. I looked at it that she needed her, that the Beatrice character and the Laura character needed her to take care of. And some of it was in gratitude that she took them in the first place. Mm-hmm. So I think it was a little bit of that. And she just probably felt like it was no need to go on my own because, as you stated, she looked at them as family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they got really, really close. I know in the 59 version, since Miss Laura was always away, Susie needed a mother figure, so she wouldn't just up and leave.
No, she would not have.
They've known each other since their girls were little, so I give the 59 version a 5. I give the 34 version a 3. Only because of that whole extra. I hate the way they made that lady talk. I hated that. You grit your teeth and you just watch it because it's a good movie, but
I will give the 1934 version, I'd like to say maybe a 6 and maybe even higher. So I think about it. Only because the Freddie Washington character was really, truly African American.
Head-to-head leading ladies, you got Claudette versus Lana. I personally love both of them a whole lot. I really can't choose. Mm-hmm. I think they both fit perfectly for their time.
I believe so too.
As far as I might believe Claudette just a little bit more though. Only because Lana was so freaking not that Claudette wasn't beautiful, but Lana just gave if she was a single mother out here selling syrup, ain't nobody gonna let her do that. Somebody was gonna snatch her up. She was gonna be a basketball wife, a Hollywood Hills wife on ETV or whatever that channel is, Bravo. I don't she was just so fabulous, even when she was supposed to be, still
She's beautiful, but
She was just gorgeous. I was like, nobody's gonna believe that.
both were beautiful in their own
Even before the
right.
glow up, like perfectly just planning on blowing out of hair out of plate. Like, I was like, girl. I mean, you can't. I'm not saying you got to be ugly to be.
Well, she was an actress, so she always.
I guess you have to keep your looks up regardless.
Yeah, her appearance was a factor. You're being an actress. Actors back then got discovered anywhere. Like I believe she got discovered at a like
drugstore.
Yeah, at a counter.
You know, drugstores used to sell like sodas and egg creams,
milkshakes,
milkshake. Like you really went to the drugstore to turn up. That's crazy.
So you always look beautiful. Claudette Colbert, she was always beautiful. I actually love her in all of her movies. I always thought she was smart and witty and just someone approachable.
That's the thing. She looked more approachable and I think believable at least for the first part of the movie. Of course, after you get the money and you got the furs and the diamonds, of course she was still gorgeous. But it's also her approach to acting. I don't know. I think they're perfect for that time period.
I do too.
I couldn't imagine anyone else in those two spots. As far as the Annie versus Delilah, of course I gotta go with the 59, Miss Juanita Moore. It's not their fault the way it was written. So I really can't, I'm not blaming Miss Beavers at all, but Miss Juanita was equally as beautiful as Lana, and I felt like they tried to downplay the woman's beauty in 1934 to make her more matronly, more mammy-ish. So yeah, I'm gonna give it to Miss Juanita. Gorgeous cheekbones.
Again, I agree. Miss Louise Beavers was indeed beautiful in her own right. Her smile was just the most amazing smile ever. But it was the times and it was the script, and you work with what you had.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from either one. I think they go perfectly head to head as well. Of course, the thing with the Sarah Jane / Piola, it can't be fair because in the 59 one, she wasn't even biracial. Like it was, I didn't know if they were trying to do the casting where like whoever fits the part better gets it, or it was like we're no biracial white passing women applying for these roles. Did no one want to do these roles? Like, I don't want to play, a black girl. Like, I don't really know why. I think she's Mexican, Jewish.
Yeah. So she is a mixed race.
She's a mix. She's just not black.
Right.
But it was close enough.
She had dark hair and dark eyes. So
I guess they thought it would work because, like she said in the earlier one, in the original, she is actually biracial. She's actually black and white, Freddie Washington, and she was a huge advocate for the NAACP and for black rights. I don't even think she really acted much more after this movie.
I believe that, and it's extremely unfortunate that it was very difficult for her to get roles because she looked too white to play someone black. And since she was black,
they didn't want her playing their roles.
Exactly. And I don't think that she probably wanted to.
She probably didn't want to. She was just like, I just want to.
But they just didn't know how to place her. And she was absolutely beautiful and talented. And it was just so sad. It was a tragedy. If she wanted acting to be her life career, it is such a tragic that she didn't get more of a chance.
She had like really haunting eyes. It was something like you really saw the set, like because she is playing somebody who she could probably relate to,
and she played
on a certain level, and her eyes are just like haunting,
so like, solemn.
Oh my
and
gosh.
She just but beautiful. Beautiful.
Nothing against Miss Susan Kohner. I'm saying that right. Who played Sarah Jane in the 59. The only thing I hated, oh my God, that dance scene. Whenever they had her dance, she was just so stiff. Well, I should have known she had no black in.
Well,
but even if you're Mexican, you gotta know how to work them hips. She was just so like. I'll add a video like this. I
think they purposely did that because some roles they don't want you to be like. When you look at Anne Margaret, she really Anne Margaret, sorry. I'm thinking about the Flintstones when she played the character. Oh my gosh. But she really, I saw some clips of her recently, even though I've seen some movies of her, and she could really move. And I think because she was playing like a sex kitten type of thing, but with the Sarah Jane, I think they didn't want her to be too sexy, but just sexy enough. People did move a little more
it was almost
seductively.
The 60s. You was almost born.
Almost.
I guess back then dancing was scandalous, child. Like you did not.
Oh yeah.
You did not go off dancing and being half naked and
no.
and in bars and clubs with men that you don't even know. Like I was like, so this is what her mom was so scared of. Like she's working in bars, and, like fully clothed. She wasn't stripping, but it was like Vegas-y kind of.
But her mom sent her off to school to be was it a librarian? So to her mother, that was a vast difference. Yeah. A dancer and a librarian. Yeah. So she just wanted her daughter to just live a different type of life.
If I was a dancer, would you be heartbroken if I said I was
like that? Library? No, I mean, well, mothers do want their daughters to be happy and live a good, decent life. But
like if you called the library and they were like, no, there's no Tuesday here. And you're like, are you sure? She said she was going to be like, no. But I was like, if this is the worst that she could do, this is nothing.
Well, it
was a different time.
It's a different time. Trust me. If it was now, it would be a whole different.
Like, oh, that's all she's dancing.
It's a whole different situation. Yes.
But anyway, and as far as Susie/Jessie, I feel like they were forgetting a little bit about. I don't think she had much range. Sandra Dee already has like the perfect cutesy, like she was that kind of girl. They were kind of on the back burner as far as the plot. I feel like they weren't really. You didn't really need the character,
but she had to be a single mother, so you kind of did. And I think Susie was way more prevalent
than Jessie. She was the goody two shoes while Sarah Jane was out there in them streets.
So it was contrast between the two daughters.
A clear contrast.
But the parents the mother still had not a great relationship with their daughters.
Basically, So basically it's just a movie about
relationships,
not getting along with your daughter. Daughters Are Hard is the name of this movie. What do you say? I'm a joy to have.
You are absolutely a joy to my life.
I made you a whole TV show so you can look back on it in your wonder years.
In my golden years.
Your golden years. You were in gold. See, it matches. Okay. You'll be like, look what my daughter did for me. We got memories. Y'all ain't got no memories. I got memories.
I have memories now.
Good memories. Like,
okay. That'll be another segment.
The ones you want to remember.
That still will be another segment.
Anyway, and then we get to Steve, who, should we have anything really to say? I think Mr. John Gavin was very handsome. I can see why Susie was like, handsome. Yeah. Are you sure you like my mama? Because I'm younger. I'm fresher. Like, why not go for me? Even though I ain't got no money and she the rich one, but still.
But all movies had to have a love interest. I
don't know why that had to be her issue though. Why couldn't her issue have just been, oh mom, you're away so much and I didn't really have you in my childhood? Why did they have to throw a man in there for them to fight over? Like, I just feel like that's kind of whack. They could have just left with the, oh mom, you were never, because they ended up having that conversation.
Oh yeah, it was still the conversation.
The conversation was had, and the mom was like, not to give everything away, but she was like, what you mean? I gave you the finest schools and the furs. And she was like, and you weren't there. Like, why couldn't that have been enough? I think that would have been more deeper. I don't know.
I felt in both movies, the mother had the best intentions.
You would go with that.
I would go with
mindset.
That. It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Costumes. I can't wait to get to this part. I don't think you can really compare too much because I don't think it was really the focus of the 1934. No. Plus, it was in black and white. Like, not that if it's in black and white, it's not gorgeous, because I've seen a lot of black and white movies, obviously, and it was like, oh my God, like, y'all did the thing. Like, y'all, beautiful. I think it's harder to design when something is in black and white.
It's very hard to show the essence of the actual
dimension.
Design.
Yeah, like, you have to work with the lighting, you have to work with the shadows and how things are going to reflect, and oh my God. But so I looked up the stylist. You have Mr. Travis Banton for the 34 black and white, and you have Jean-Louis, if I'm saying that right, for the 59. Now, I don't know much about Mr. Travis, but Mr. Louis, he did a few movies that I've seen. I think he did Queen Bee with Joan Crawford, and those, oh my gosh, like, my favorite, I'm going to just say this on record, my favorite TCM designer is Adrian. My car is named after him. I don't know if that means anything to him, but I loved him since I was a child. I love Adrian, but he didn't do this movie. So so costumes, as far as you think, like, head to head? Do you think it added to the storyline, or do you think
Well,
it's on the back burner?
in the 30s, you just never can go wrong with fashion, like never on any level in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Claudette Colbert, her character was glamorous. She was a socialite. So she did wear very beautiful gowns. However, the 1959, as we stated, is in color.
And it's Lana Turner. And it's her in her platinum hair, and it's her in that body, and it's...
And she's an actress, so
she's an actress, so it's her job to dress up.
Yeah, of course she's going to be glamorous in every single role, but I just think the edge, as you stated, it's in color. I think in both movies, in its own right, I kind of would say I like the fashion equally.
I don't think they were focused on looks that much. At least in this movie, they didn't. Fashion was not on the forefront at all. It was very kind of, I think, plain.
But I just think that's just the way they dress. If you were a socialite, that's the way that you would have dressed back then. That's the thing.
I think it was more realistic.
Relatable. It was more relatable.
I think I can say that I like the 59 one better for fashion because I don't think they focus as much on the business part of, on the like I said, the business part of things. I think they focused way more on the home, so you saw more people relax at home.
Yes, because she entertained.
She wasn't like Laura. She was out here. They showed her performances, and maybe she had a meeting.
Because she's a celebrity, so
she was. But maybe I'm just biased because it's in color and is more updated. I don't know. What's your favorite design from 34? Do you
34? It was the gown that Claudette Colbert's character Beatrice wore when she was when she was entertaining and had the party, and that's when she met Steve's character.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was very beautiful.
It's this white dress. I guess it's white. At least that's how it looks to me, and it has like that green, a simple green like sash that goes through it. It was just so simple but so perfect. I was like, yo, like I need to dress up more. But yeah, I love that gown. I think that's the gown she wore when she cussed out Sarah Jane. And I was like, she just looks so eloquent. She did not disturb her diamonds at all. And she said, you better get your life together.
Well, yes. And I appreciate the fact that even though she revered Annie very, very much, she loved her very, very much. And she cared for her. And she cared about what happened to her. So she wasn't that unfocused with her career that she didn't see that her relationship with Annie's relationship with her daughter was really, really troubled.
I know Lana Turner had a lot of tumultuous things happen in her real life with her real daughter.
Yeah.
You can look that up if you want to, and you could just kind of, I felt like a humbleness from her that I think she translated into the character really, really well. Like, yeah, she was in this fancy gown, but it didn't go to her head. Like, she remembered her roots. She remembered where she comes from.
Absolutely.
This is her family. She almost looks at Sarah Jane like by the end, she kind of does become a mother. So as far as if they made another remake, even if they should, what changes would you make?
The African-American character, the daughter, should truly be African-American. She doesn't necessarily have to be mixed, but like the character's mom said that the dad was very light. So I do believe that that character should be African-American. And I'd like to see that the Louise Beaver and the Juanita Morris character would evolve to where they would have some sort of career or business themselves.
I agree. I personally, every time I watch the Lana Turner one, I don't know why, but I can see Pink. I can see her playing that role.
Oh, yeah.
And I think...
Oh, absolutely.
I think, because she's my favorite singer of all time.
Yes, she is. She will travel the earth to see
I will travel
Pink.
the earth to see her. So, yeah, I think I could... that's just... I know I'm a little biased, but I could see her playing that role. It's something about, like, maybe she could be a singer. Since you had the entrepreneur, you had the actress, she could be a singer.
That would be
and
really
a single
good.
Mother. Like I agree. If I don't know, but that would be nice to see her have some growth and some independence, like
outside of home.
I do think they should still stick together and be a family.
Oh, absolutely.
But her have a little bit more, because she was a character that just gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave. You didn't see her getting much back.
But even in the 1959 version, She had a whole life.
She had a whole life that nobody knew about.
She belonged to the church, the clubs.
And
she had a whole entire life, and we did not see
we didn't see
any of that.
And I was like, that kind of sucks. Like all that drama y'all had going on with Steve and Susie. Not that it wasn't relevant. It was just like y'all could have put more meaningful things in there. As far as remakes go, I think they're both pretty damn good.
Yeah, the movie, I mean, they're classic.
Easy, like rewatch factor. You can rewatch it
every Mother's
I watch
Day.
it every time, like especially the Mahalia Jackson scene. I don't even know how we skipped that whole part.
Hands down.
In 59.
Hands down.
Annie's funeral, like they said that I read that Lana Turner kept crying and she kept breaking down.
How can you not?
She had to leave the set and they had to keep like coercing her to come back and shoot the scene because every time Mahalia started singing,
how can you like
she was really crying in that scene, like she was like not keeping it together, and I'm like,
Mahalia Jackson,
her voice will do that to you.
Her voice is arguably one of the
best voices
in history. And I grew up listening to it because my grandmother, the weekends that we would spend the night over my grandmother's house, it was probably 3 artists that you heard throughout that weekend. And Sunday morning, Mahalia Jackson, that's what you heard, and that's what woke me up. The smell of bacon and coffee and Mahalia Jackson. If you haven't seen it, you will be moved. That
funeral scene will do you in.
Yeah.
It will do you in.
It's beautiful.
And you'll see how much respect people had for her. Like, I was like, she knew so many people. Yeah. And we didn't get to see any of that. So I would love to have seen more of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely recommend that you guys go and watch it. If you were confused by anything I said, I'm so sorry. We will get better at this, I promise.
So if you're gonna leave a comment, please be kind. I know,
nice.
I know some veterans of movies, old movies, will probably chime in and say, "Oh, you forgot this or you forgot that." But again, this is for entertainment purposes.
But yes, I thank all of y'all for watching so much. I hope you guys become a part of our community. If you care, please subscribe. If you don't want to, that's fine. I don't care.
Yes,
but I ain't thirsty for subscriptions. If you have any remakes that you would like for us to compare, please let us know.
Yes.
And we hope to see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being with us, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
So adorable. Bye. And we're out. Yeah, I don't know how much longer I got on this cell phone.
You better take out that if you don't subscribe, I don't care.